This video is all about illustrating rational algebraic expressions. So, ito yung ating lesson for week 3. After this lesson, students are expected to define rational algebraic expressions, identify rational algebraic expressions, evaluate rational algebraic expressions, and relate rational algebraic expressions in real-life situation. We will start our lesson by reviewing the concepts in translating verbal phrases into mathematical phrases or expressions, and we will identify which are polynomials in which you had learned in your Mathematics 7. So let us begin with number 1, the sum of a number and 9. So, ano nga ba yung unang gagawin natin? So, una, pag ganito magta-translate tayo, so, syempre, hanapin natin yung mga common words and phrases that indicating the operations or the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So, in this case, number 1, so we can see the sum. So, which represents what operation? So, that is addition. So, the sum of a number. So, there is a number or missing number. We can represent this number as a variable. So, let's say this number is x and 9. So, now, translate this one, the sum of a number and 9. So, we have the number plus 9. So, that is the sum of a number and 9. Okay, number 2, the product of n and the number 8. So, the operation here is the product, which represents multiplication. So, that is multiplication. Product of n. So, meron ditong given na n. Let us write here n. And the number 8. So, that is 8. So, ito yung 8. Combining it together, so we will get the product. So, hindi lang times, hindi lang ito ang symbol ng multiplication. So, pwede ding dot, pwede ring parenthesis. So, getting the product of a number and 8, or simply, since dalawa lang sila, so we can simply write 8 n. That shows the product of n and 8. Number 3, the ratio of a distance d and time t. So when we say ratio, so this ratio represents division. Division. So ano yung symbol for division? Or divide. Sulat natin, division. Division. Erase muna natin. So, division. So, division. So, the ratio of a distance, d. So, we have distance that represented by d and the time represented by d. So, in order to get the ratio, we need to divide d and t. So, writing this into mathematical phrase, so we have d over t, or d divided by t. So, that is the ratio of the distance and time. Number 4, the difference of a number n and 21. So, the operation here is When we say difference, that is subtraction or minus of a number n. So we have a number n. And so we have 21. So 21, that is, sorry. So, so 21. 21. So writing this into mathematical phrase, so we will get the difference of a number n. Difference nila. So n 21. So that is n minus 21. Number 5, the cube root of, so that is off, hindi siya on. Sorry for typo. The cube root of a number n decreased by 5. So ano yung mga, ano yung operations or common words dito? We have the cube root. So that is cube root. That's right, symbol for cube root. Next, number n. So when we say decreased, that symbolizes what operation? So that symbolizes subtraction. So we need to minus. So minus by, so that is 5. So ganun lang po, step by step. Then, saka nyo susulat as mathematical phrase. So this is just a review. So we will combine it. The cube root, so let us combine. Cube root of a number n, so cube root of number n decreased by 5. So simple as that. So nare-write na natin or na-translate na natin each verbal phrase into mathematical phrase. Now, let us proceed to the next slide. So now, let us identify whether the expression is a polynomial or not. So, but before that, let us have a review. How can we say that a given expression is a polynomial or not? So, hindi siya polynomial kung yung variable ay may negative exponent. So, remember, if a given variable has a negative exponent, hindi siya polynomial. So, example nun, x raised to negative 1. So, lahat ng may negative na exponent, or lahat ng variable na may negative exponent, that is not a polynomial. Second, so hindi siya polynomial kung may variable sa denominator. So again, hindi siya polynomial kung may variable sa denominator. Next, hindi siya polynomial kung may radical or kung yung variable ay nasa loob ng radical sign. So, that is the radical sign. So, hindi siya polynomial kapag yung variable ay nandoon. So, yun yung mga rules para masabi na ang given expression ay hindi polynomial. So, let us start or let us begin answering the following expressions. So, number 1, x plus 3. So, x plus 3, polynomial or not? So, x plus 3 is a polynomial. So, let us write P. So, because this is a polynomial. Number 2, x raised to negative 4. So, x raised to negative 4 is not a polynomial because the variable or the exponent of the variable is negative. Number 3, 2D. So, 2D is a polynomial kasi wala namang na-restrict. Number 4, 3c squared plus 2c is also a polynomial. Number 5, 3d raised to negative 2 plus 1. So, meron siyang negative exponent. Therefore, number 5 is not a polynomial. And number 6, square root of x plus 2. So, square root of x, so the variable is inside the radical. Therefore, in this case, this expression is not a polynomial. Now, let us begin our lesson with the rational algebraic expression. A rational algebraic expression is an expression that can be written in the form P over Q, where P and Q are polynomials, and Q must not be equal to 0. So, yun, yung rule. Q must not be equal to 0 or the denominator must not be equal to 0. So, in other words, we can say that a given expression is a rational algebraic expression if the expression whose numerator and denominator are polynomials. So, sasabi lang natin siya na rational algebraic expression kung yung numerator niya and denominator are polynomials. So, now, let us identify. So, we have three expressions here. Now, we are going to identify kung alin dyan yung rational or nagre-represent rational algebraic expression. So, ano yung rule para masabi na ang given expression is rational? So, dapat yung numerator and denominator ay parehong polynomials. And, so, yun lang. And Q must not be equal to 0. So, let us go with this first expression. So, 6 over x minus 3. So, let us observe. So, 6 is a polynomial. X minus 3 is a polynomial. Therefore, this expression represents a rational algebraic expression. So, check natin siya. Next, second expression. Y squared minus 1 over y cubed minus 3. So, observe natin yung numerator. Y squared minus 1. May nirestic ba siya? Wala. So, polynomial siya. Correct. Second, denominator ba? Yung denominator natin. So, denominator is also a polynomial. So, therefore, this expression is a rational algebraic expression. Next, the third example. 3x minus square root of y over 5 square root of x. So, let us observe first the numerator. 3x minus square root of y. So, the first, the numerator is not a polynomial since there is a variable inside a radical. So, hindi na siya polynomial. Next, denominator, 5 square root of x. So, meron ulit variable inside a radical. So, hindi siya polynomial. Therefore, this expression is not a rational algebraic expression. So, let us recall that the rational algebraic expression is a fraction containing polynomials in both numerator and denominator, provided that the denominator must not be equal to 0. The denominator cannot be 0 because a division of 0 is undefined or meaningless. So, yun yung rule. Bawal maging 0 yung denominator because magiging undefined or meaningless yung ating expression. In rational algebraic expressions, you need to pay attention to what values of the variables that will make the denominator equal to 0. So, these values are called excluded. When we say excluded, hindi siya kasali. How are you going to determine the excluded values in a rational algebraic expression. So here are the steps in determining the excluded values. So step 1. So let the expression in the denominator be equal to 0. So kung gagawin natin, unang step, kailan ba magsi-zero yung, or ito yung mga ways para ma-determine kung excluded ba yung values. Una, kapag yung value na yon ay isinubstitute natin doon sa variable sa denominator at nag-equal sa 0 yung denominator, therefore that values or value is called excluded value. Hindi siya kasali kasi masasabi mo siyang hindi kasali kapag nag-equal sa 0 yung denominator. Second step, if we solve the equation, or so we need to solve the equation to determine the value or values of the variable. Let us proceed to our first example. Example 1. We identify the value of x that will make 6 over x minus 3 be undefined. So, kanina, recall, how can we say that a given rational algebraic expression be undefined? If the denominator will be equal to 0. Kapag nag-0 yung denominator, therefore, yung expression ay magiging or masasabi nating undefined. So, ngayon, ang gagawin natin, hahanapin natin yung value ng x dito sa given denominator na kung saan yung denominator ay magiging 0. So, anong value ng x para maging 0 ang ating denominator? So, first thing to do, so step 1, let us equate the denominator or let us equate the expression in the denominator, or let us equate the denominator be equal to 0. So, x minus 3, equate natin siya kay 0. So, step 1 yon, x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, second step. So, second step, meron tayong equation, hanapin natin yung value ng x kasi yung hinahanap. Kailan daw ba? So, yung hinahanap natin, pag ito bang denominator na to ay nag-0. Yun yung hinahanap natin. Kailan magsi-0 yung denominator kasi doon natin masasabi na undefined yung ating expression. So, kaya nilagay ko dito yung denominator or expression sa denominator, in-equate natin siya sa 0. So, next, by addition property of equality, let us add 3 to both sides of the equation para matanggal yung negative 3 dito. So, let us write x minus 3, then add 3 equal to 0. So, nag-add ka ng 3 dito, by addition property of equality, add ka din ng 3 dito. So, now, simplify. So, negative 3 plus 3, that is equal to, 0. So, cancel out. Ang natira sa left side of the equation is x equal. So, 0 plus 3, so that is 3. Now, going back to the question, what is the value of x? Therefore, the value of x is equal to 3. So, mag-stop na ba tayo doon? So, hindi pa tayo mag-stop. Let us check. So, substitute natin si 3 na nakuha natin dito sa x dito sa ating denominator. So, pag sinubstitute natin si 3 kay x dito sa denominator, So, magiging 3 siya. 3 minus 3. So, 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore, we can say that the value of x that will make 6 over x minus 3 be undefined is x is equal to 3. So, kapag 3, yung expression natin ay undefined. So, second example, identify the value or values of x that will make 18n plus 1 over n squared plus n minus 2 be undefined. So, lagi niyong tatandaan kapag ang tinatanong, kailan magiging undefined yung given expression, ang lagi niyong titignan na part ng algebraic expression ay yung denominator. Kasi, pag sinabi nating undefined, tumutukoy yon kapag 0 ang denominator, saka lang magiging undefined yung expression. So, lagi ang titignan natin is denominator. So, kagaya nung ginawa natin kanina, we will equate the denominator to 0. So, step 1, equate n squared plus n minus 2 be equal to 0. Yun yung kailangan nating mapalabas para masabing undefined yung rational algebraic expression. So, second step. So, what can you see on this given expression? Kagaya nung pinag-aralan nyo last time or last module. So, we need to get the factor of this expression. So, since this is a quadratic expression or a quadratic equation, we need to get the factor. So, ano ba yung factor ni n squared plus n minus 2? Paano ba manguha ng factor? Kung naalala nyo pa, last week. So, write tayo ng dalawang parenthesis. Yan. So, equal 0. Now, paano tayo magpa-factor? So, una, tingin tayo dito sa ating first term. What is our first term? N square. Ano ang factor ni n square? So, ang factor ni n square, n times n. Tama. So, lagay mo yung isang n dito, then yung pangalawang n ay dito naman sa kabila. Tama. So, na-factor na natin yung first term. Next, tingin naman tayo dito sa ating last term. Our last term is negative 2. Now, para makompleto ang ating factors, so, ang gagawin natin, ano ba yung factor ni negative 2 na kung saan pag pinag-add natin or kinuha natin yung sum, ang kalalabasan ay yung coefficient ng nasa gitna. Ano ba yung coefficient ng nasa gitna? So, meron tayo ditong invisible. So, invisible 1. Delete ko. So, write natin, invisible 1. Diyan. So, ano ba yung factor ni negative 2? Sulat natin. Negative 2 is equal to negative 2 times positive 1. Correct. Another factor, 2 times negative 1. Correct? Both are correct factors of negative 2. But, ang gagawin natin, ang kukunin natin, anong factor ni negative 2 na kung saan pag pinag-add natin, so anong factor niya kaya? Ito kaya or ito? So, ang gagawin natin, hanapin natin factor ni negative 2 na kung saan pag pinag-add natin ay ang lalabas ay positive 1. So, let us begin with negative 2 times 1. So, negative 2 plus positive 1. So, pag-aadin lang natin yung factors. So, negative 2 plus positive 1, that is negative 1. So, hindi na yon yung sagot. O hindi na yon yung kukunin natin. Next. 2 times negative 1 na factor niya. So, pag-addin naman natin to, 2 plus negative 1, that is positive 1. So, ang kukunin natin is yung factor ni negative 2 na kung saan nung pinag-add natin ay nag-result sa positive 1. So, dito yon. Ito yon. Yung kukunin natin, 2 and negative 1. Yun ngayon yung isusulat natin doon sa parentheses. So, meron tayong positive 2. Sa kabila naman yung negative 1. So, nakuha po natin ano? So, nakuha po yung nilagay ko na yon sa factor ng negative 2 na kung saan nung kinuha natin yung sum nila, nag-result doon sa coefficient nung nasa middle term which is 1. Now, let us equate each factor to 0. So, the first factor is n plus 2. Equate daw natin siya sa 0. Ganon din sa second factor na n minus 1. I-equate din natin siya kay 0. So, n minus 1 equal 0. Pwede natin tanggalin yung parentheses. So, we have n plus 2 equal, erase natin to. So, n plus 2 equal to 0. N minus 1 equal to 0. Okay, next. So, kagaya nung ginawa natin nung first example, so, kanina, addition property of equality, ito naman, dito tayo muna sa unang factor, n plus 2 is equal to 0. Apply the, so, since this is positive 2, kabaligtaran niya is negative, we need to apply the subtraction property of equality. We need to subtract both sides by 2. So, n plus 2 so, subtract it by 2 equal to 0. So, since equality siya, subtract din natin siya kay 2. So, n. Now, we need to simplify. So, simplify 2 minus 2, that is equal to 0. So, cancel out na yan. So, natira sa left side of the equation is n. N is equal to, so 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Next, nakuha na natin yung isang value ng n. Now, next, n minus 1 is equal to 0. So, since this is negative 1, kabaligtaran niya, positive, we need to apply the addition property of equality. Therefore, we need to add positive 1 to each side of the equation. So, n minus 1, so add 1 equal to 0 plus 1. Now, simplify. So, simplify the left side of the equation. Negative 1 plus 1, that is equal to 0. So, cancel out. Ang natira is n. N is equal to 0 plus 1, that is equal to 1. Ma'am, bakit x nakalagay doon? So, this should be, so x should be n. So, ang tinutukoy na x dito, yung nawawala. Ano ba yung nawawala dito? N. So, pwede natin siyang i-rewrite dito as n para hindi kayo malito. So, identify the value or values of n. N yan, hindi x. So, ano ba yung value na n na magiging 0? Yung denominator. So, the values of n to make the denominator be equal to 0 or be undefined are -2 and +1. So, yun po yung ating sagot. So, n is -2 and n is equal to 1. So, check natin. So, paano na ulit mag-check? Substitute mo yung nakuha nating value ng n or value ng variable doon sa denominator or sa, tama, sa denominator. So, if n is -2, -2 raised to 2 or -2 square. So, what is -2 square? So, that is -2 times -2, that is +4. So, +4 plus, ano ulit yung n? -2. +4 plus -2, that is 2. -2. So, yung 2 kanina, -2, that is 0. So, correct. Yung n is equal to -2. How about 1? If n is 1, so substitute natin dito sa expression or sa denominator. So, 1 square is 1. Plus n ulit. So, 1 plus 1, 2. So, 2 minus 2, that is 0. So, ganun lang po mag-check. Okay, maiba naman tayo. Dito naman, example 3, we will evaluate the expression 5x squared plus 6x minus 11 over 1, all over 1 when x is equal to 2. So, ganun lang. Ang gagawin natin, hahanapin daw natin or i-evaluate natin yung expression kung ano yung magiging sagot if palitan natin yung x as 2. So, una, write the given. 5x square plus 6x minus 11 over 1. So, when x is equal to, so x natin ay equal sa 2. Ngayon, lahat ng x na nakakita nyo dito sa ating expression, papalitan natin yan ng 2. Yun yung ibig sabihin natin. Ibig sabihin doon. So, palitan natin siya as 2. So, magiging 5. Imbis na x square, magiging 2 square. Plus 6. O, imbis na x, papalitan din natin siya ng 2. Minus 11. Sorry. Sulat natin minus 11. Over 1. Now, let us simplify. So, equal. So, 2 raised to 2, that is 4. So, magiging 4 yon. So, 5 times 4. Bakit 4? Kasi that is 2 times 2. So, 4. Plus 6 times 2. So, 6 times 2 is 12. Minus 11 over, ay, nabura na lahat. Ulitin na lang natin. So, 5 times 4 plus 12 minus 11 over 1. Then, we have 5 times 4, 20, plus, plus 12 minus 11 over 1. Now, simplify this one. 20 plus 12 is 32. 32 minus 11. So, ilan? 32 minus 11. O, ilan? That is 21. Okay, so 21. 21 over 1. Or simply, kapag ang denominator ay 1, we can write that given number as 21. So, ito yung ating sagot. That is 21. Okay, since meron na kayong idea about rational algebraic expression and how can be an expression be undefined and how to evaluate an expression, we can now apply this or those learnings into real-life situation. By this example, example 4, Vanessa can finish answering a module in X hours, while his brother Ryan can finish answering the same module in Y hours. So, yung mga oras ng pagsagot nila ng module ay nirepresent by variable. So, si Vanessa, ang oras niya ay nirepresent as X, and si Ryan ay nirepresent as Y. So, we need to write an expression that will illustrate their rate of work to finish answering the module. So, I have here a table. So, this table will help us in creating or in writing an expression that will illustrate the given example. So, we have here Vanessa and Ryan. So, ang sinasabi ditong part of the work. When we say part of the work, ilang work yung nagawa nila. So, ilang work yung nagawa nila. So, si Vanessa, ilan yung nasagutan yung module? So, answering A. So, when we say A, that is singular in English. So, isa. A module. Isang module. Yun yung work na nagawa niya. Next naman, si Ryan, ang nasagutan niya or kaya niya masagutan is same module. When you say same module, kung ilan yung nasagutan ni Vanessa, ganun din yung part of the work niya. So, Ryan can also answer one module. So, hours. Yung hours na tinutukoy dito yung binanggit ko kanina. Yung nirepresent yung oras ng paggawa nila by variable. So, si Vanessa, she can finish the answering the module in X hours. Yun yung tinutukoy na hours dito. So, si Vanessa, ilalagay mo lang dito, ang hours ng pagsagot niya ng module ay X. Kasi nirepresent siya as variable. Next, si Ryan naman, ang oras ng pagsagot niya or oras na kaya niyang tapusin ang pagsagot ng module ay nirepresent as Y. So, isusulat natin dito ay Y. So, writing an expression Pag sinulat natin expression, part of the work divided by or over hours, yun po yung rate ng kanilang work in to finish answering the module. So, we need to get the ratio of part of the work and hours. Writing this one, so we have 1 over x. So, that is the rate of their work. So, from the word rate, that is ratio. Next, so ito yung expression na nagre-represent sa rate of work of Vanessa to finish answering the module. Next, how about Ryan? So, Ryan, part of the work, 1 over R's y. So, that is 1 over y. So, ganun lang kasimple. So, 1 over x, ito yung rate ni Vanessa to finish answering the module. 1 over y, rate ni Ryan to finish answering the module. Last, fifth example, the area of a rectangle is x squared minus 121 square units, while its width measures x plus 11 units. Illustrate a rational algebraic expression in finding the length of the rectangle. So, likewise, nung ginawa natin kanina, previous example, so hahanapin din natin dito yung expression na nagre-represent sa length ng rectangle. But before that, ano na nga ulit yung formula in finding the area of the rectangle? So, recall muna natin kasi makakatulong to in finding the length. So, area. Area of the rectangle. So, draw tayo ng rectangle. So, area ng rectangle equal to, so that is length times width. So, length times width. That is the area of the rectangle. So, ano ba yung mga given? So, meron tayo ng area na recall na natin. Now, we need to write the given. So, ano ba yung given? Ano ba yung given natin? Given is the area of the rectangle. So, area, sulat natin dito. A of the rectangle equal x squared minus 21. So, x squared minus 121. Next step, ano ba isang given? Width. So, W equal x plus 11. Now, meron na tayong given. So, next step is to proceed in the illustration using the formula na nirecall natin kanina. Magagamit natin to. So, area ng rectangle. Ngayon, para mas madali, i-manipulate natin yung formula ng area. So, ano ba hinahanap natin? Kailangan lang natin is yung length. So, yung length dito. So, kailangan maiwan sa right side is yung length. Paano natin matatanggal yung width? So, kabaligtaran ng multiplication, we need to divide both side by W para maiwan si length dito sa right side and mapunta si width sa left side. So, manipulating the given formula. So, we have area of the rectangle equal, so L times width. So, to cancel out the width, kasi length lang hinahanap natin, so divide both sides of the equation by W or width. So, after that, simplify. So, width divided by width, that is equal to 1. So, tanggal na siya, that is 1. 1 times L. So, matitira lang doon sa right side is L. Then, A or area of the rectangle divided by width. So, now, ito na yung ating bagong formula. Formula to ng length. So, in finding the length, we need to divide. So, we need to get the quotient of area of the rectangle and its width. So, substituting the given para mahanap si length. Length equal, kanina, ano ba yung ating area ng rectangle? So, ito yung ating area ng rectangle. Isusulat mo lang. So, we have x squared minus 121. X squared minus 121 over, ano ba yung width natin? So, kanina, sinulat rin natin yung width. Ayun yung ating width sa given. Our width is equal to x plus 11. X plus 11. Okay, balik tayo sa hinahanap. Illustrate a rational algebraic expression in finding the length of the rectangle. So, stop na ba tayo dito? So, hindi pa tayo yari. Kasi, as you can see, ang denominator, pwede na pa natin siyang i-factor. So, anong method yung gagamitin natin na yung factoring? Factoring, difference of two squares. So, ano yung difference of two squares? Since perfect square yung unang expression na x squared at si 121, so, kukunin lang natin yung difference ng kanilang square. So, sulat ko dito. L is equal to, so, kunin natin yung factor ng una. So, pag sinabing difference of two square, so, we have positive and negative. So, kunin lang natin yung factor ni x square. Factor ni x square ay x times x. Factor ni negative 121 ay negative 11 times positive 11 or positive 11 times, So, positive 11 times, sa isa naman, negative 11. So, yan yung factor. Now, over, ano na yung over kanina? X plus 11. So, x plus 11. Since product yung nasa taas, pwede nating i-cancel yung x plus 11 and x plus 11 dito sa denominator. So, itong dalawa, x plus 11, x plus 11, that is equal to 1. So, we can write now the length. L is equal to, so, x minus 11 over, so, ano natira na lang, since 1 yan, over 1. So, ito na ngayon ng ating rational algebraic expression in finding the length of the given rectangle. So, ito yung expression natin. X minus 11 over 1. So, pa-check na lang sa module kung may mali. So, ang nasa module ata, ito lang, hindi niya sinimplify. So, sa module lang, ito, hindi niya na-simplify. So, dapat ang gagawin natin, isi-simplify natin. Kung pwede pang i-factor at meron pang makakancel, so we need to simplify. So, if you do have any clarification or questions regarding dun sa lesson na discuss ko kanina, you're free to message me kung may hindi kayo naintindihan dun sa diniscuss ko or may hindi malinaw. So, yun lang po yung ating lesson for today. Sana may natutunan kayo. So, salamat sa lahat ng nakinig. Bye-bye!